Hi, this is Maurice Gilbert with Concilium Executive Search. And today I'm going to be talking to you about taking job criteria with a client. This happens to be one of the most important aspects within the search cycle, because obviously if you don't have a great understanding of what the client's expectations are, it's difficult to hit the mark. So one of the first things we do when we're talking to our clients, and typically that conversation initially may last as much as an hour or an hour and a half. And basically, we're not going through a laundry list. This is a misnomer. It's not 15 particular criteria inclusive of someone has to be a graduate of this particular law school. It doesn't work that way to be effective. What is effective is when you ask this basic question. What is it you would like this professional to have accomplished within the first 12 months of employment? Then you back into what are the specific criteria the professional will need to hit the mark and be successful and have a great performance review at that 12-month period. So let me give you a case in point. Most of our practice centers around placing legal and compliance officers. We were taking a criteria from a client, and investigations is one aspect, obviously, of a compliance officer's job responsibility. And yet, when I asked this particular client what they would like to see accomplished within the first 12 months, the investigations came out as the dominant theme. So it's with that piece of information that we knew that that was the cornerstone of the profile that we were looking for from a technical perspective. Once you get beyond the technical proficiencies, then your challenge basically is the most difficult, which is matching the professional with the corporate culture. And as much as 80% of a hire is based upon what we call the soft skills, the presentation skills, the leadership skills, the ability obviously to sell your ideas, because we are placing executives and you must be able to articulate and sell your ideas throughout the organization, from the highest levels to the lowest levels. Once we get beyond the soft skills, we're looking at what's going on in the company environment itself, because that could have a tremendous impact, again, on the profile that we're looking for. Let me give you a case in point. Again, consistent with compliance officers, one of our clients was going through a corporate integrity agreement. Well, some professionals are adverse to taking on a responsibility when a company is in trouble. And yet, at the other end of the continuum, you have professionals that would relish the thought of stepping in a challenging environment and bringing that company up to speed. So that's a very important element also in the job criteria. Moving on, you have, of course, leadership. You're looking to understand how many people this professional will supervise, what types of background will these professionals be. Also, will the professional that you're hiring be the one who will hire his or her staff? Because sometimes professionals are adverse to stepping in if they're inheriting a staff, because they may face pushback. So these are, again, are all things that have to be flushed out in taking the criteria with a client. Another thing you want to consider when visiting with a client are career growth options. Whenever we present an opportunity to a professional, we're presenting the immediate opportunity, what that person will be doing, let's say, within the first 2-3 years. But any professional is already thinking, if I come in and do a good job, what then? What are my options for career growth within that company so I don't have to pick up and move every 3 years or so? So those are some of the very basic criteria that we develop with clients. And last but not least, we also have to be very flexible because criteria actually does change, and quite often once the search actually commences, because you go out in the market and you start talking to candidates and you get a flavor for what's going on in the marketplace, who is accessible, but that could change. Let me give you a case in point. We were doing a search for one client, and it was a very, very challenging search. We knew that a small sliver of the universe would be qualified, and initially we went to market saying we will accept a person living in any major metropolitan city in the US. Well, I guess we got a little lucky because 2 weeks into the search, we had several candidates that were in the very city that the client preferred, so the rest of that search was focused on that particular city. So those are some of the dynamics that we pay attention to when we're developing criteria with a client. And I look forward to visiting with you again on other steps throughout the search process.